With naval combat being a focus in Halo Zero Graphic Tranquility, I've had to ponder the question of what Covenant watercraft would look like. While it seemed simple at first, it turned out to be a very difficult thing to conceptualize because we've never really had an idea of what naval combat looks like in Halo games other than scraps of information we've gotten from Digsight, Bungie, and Halo Reach. Now I want to focus on the Covenant throughout this video, because throughout Halo, for the limited amounts of information about boats we have, we've already gotten a look at human watercraft. We have the Stingray from Halo Reach, the Doozy, the aircraft carrier. More I could mention, but that would be a much bigger video for another day. I wanted to really look into the Covenant watercraft instead. So what Covenant watercraft do we have? Well, absolutely fucking nothing. That's fucking right. Bungie never really concepted Covenant watercraft, or at least got so far to. The leaks from Digsight showed remnants of the leaked boat level, and it didn't really have any signs of Covenant watercraft. It's just a river that went to a structure of some kind, which was really disappointing because when it was described Bungie was making a SEALs team covert mission, I assumed that they meant boarding a Covenant boat, which is what my modded mission Desolate December ended up becoming. I based it off that Cut Reach mission's description, but there were no signs of Covenant boats. I guess they probably would have had you fight banshees or maybe ghosts that float on water. But what about 343's lore? I'm sure they've made some wide variety of Covenant watercraft we could see. Oh wait, there's only two that really count. The Wave Skimmer, there's not an actual picture, it's just a Halopedia article. It mentions that it was in some book that nobody read, but was probably summarized by some Halo YouTuber. Then there's the Skitar Pattern Banshee, which is an ancient amphibious banshee model designed for multi-environment security and deep-sea artifact retrieval missions. Mentioned in Halo Encyclopedia, so I guess we got a water banshee, which is kinda cool. Yeah, both of these are mentioned in books instead of the main games. To go along with them, there's also these like shark elites. Instead of having some cool naval-based species in-game, instead they are in some book. In some out-of-reach world from the games that is super rare, because I see 343 has adopted the Mojang strategy of just putting all their new additions in some place that doesn't have any impact on the universe at all. I know some people raised the question, why would the Covenant need naval vehicles? They can just use anti-grav to move around, and sure, that's right, but we are in space. Some worlds are completely made out of water. It's like it's Subnautica. Now, I don't mind Covenant vehicles having anti-grav water modes, because we know most Covenant vehicles cannot float on water, but having actual watercraft designed for naval combat is cool, and it opens up more gameplay experiences and locations. Sure, it may seem pointless on the surface, but people are underestimating the potential of water-based gameplay. So as you guys can all see, the naval lineup for the Covenant is pretty empty. Now, any other Halo video or Halo tuber would end it here, but fuck that shit. We don't gotta be all upset about the past or what could have been. Let's look into some actual fan-made examples of Covenant watercraft and how they would work in-game. That's right. I'm actually going to show you some real results here. I want to give attention firstly to this commission art created by Taxic Axon. I'm sorry if I fucking pronounced this wrong. Taxic Axiomon. I'm sorry. It shows a heavy scarab-like Covenant watercraft called the Kelpie, which you can see it's very large. You got banshees on the side, you got cannons, and it's also hovering over the water. It's also mentioned that it can still go on land, which I think works because it gives the Covenant an advantage of all their watercraft being ground-based as well. And it would probably make a cool scarab fight type battle. Then there's smaller hovercrafts next to it called Skeelies, which are very interesting medium-sized vehicles. They have side shields, 2 turrets, a driver. It's kind of shaped like a trilobite now that I think about it. It's a really good piece of art here, and it perfectly captures what the Covenant watercraft could look like. Spartan Tanner also made a cool kit bash in SFM of a Covenant watercraft type vehicle, featuring elements from the Ghost and Revenant. There's also this Spanish boat kit bash made by Pernal Sharks. It's a really good looking idea here, and it reminds me of landing craft used to storm beaches, really fitting for the Banished. There's also another watercraft Pernal Sharks made that's kind of like a Covenant submarine, I think. This kind of adds on to the naval combat below the surface of the water instead of having surface combat. Now these are all great ideas. Has anyone ever made a mod that has Covenant watercraft in game? Well, I did. In my Halo mod Desolate December, there's the Sprite. It's a smaller version of the Halo CE Spectre with a blue shell, made to float on water. It's a 3-seater vehicle that's used by the Covenant to patrol water areas, and it's used for naval combat, usually coming in squads of 2 elites and sometimes 1 jackal on the side. I do plan on adding larger variants when I get the chance, but for now, the smaller ones are what we have. There's also a banished variant of it, used by the Banished for similar means of naval transport in combat. It has extra armor, making it more durable than the Covenant's version of the Sprite. Sprites are usually docked in man-of-war battleships, the Covenant's naval carriers. The man-of-war has 4 different refilling and storage platforms for the spirits. It has a hangar bay for the sprites, a missile bay area, and the commanding seat where the shipmaster pilots the ship. Honor guards are also often used to defend the interiors of these holy battleships. The man-of-war isn't an actual vehicle, as it's just a part of the BSP, but one day I hope to make it a pilotable vehicle. But for now it's a set piece and the main objective to take down in Desolate December. It's actually designed based on the man-of-war jellyfish. The man-of-war was intended as an aircraft carrier, but the role was later fit by the Magna Pina, the Covenant aircraft carrier in the Helljumpers mod. Unlike the man-of-war, it actually moves around the map and you need to fight it similar to a scarab. It can store up to 6 banshees or vampires, and it can store up to 32 sprites in its hull. 2 spears can also dock on its aircraft area. There is also refueling tanks on the top, which is a very big design flaw that can be exploited by people boarding the ship. However, it was able to be destroyed by normal rocket fire anyways if you don't want to go on the ship. The one in the Helljumpers mod is also a smaller and weaker variant of the much larger man-of-war version, which barely even fit in the Sparkling Lake, as to why it wasn't used compared to the smaller versions. It also has a cool destruction mesh that, kind of adds a lot of life to the area once it blows up as a shipwreck. You can walk on it and everything. It's pretty cool. Although I still have a long way to go, and there's still many new Covenant watercraft to introduce to the mod, and there has to be more polish done to the Covenant watercraft I have, with updates. I hope this gives insight into what a Covenant naval craft can look like, and show the idea isn't all that far-fetched. You can play both of these mods on Steam in case you want to try out the naval battles for yourself. Now, these ideas can be a reality, and I'm glad to see it. It's taken us a long time, but I'm glad naval combat is starting to be a real thing in Halo, thanks to the community. I may make a full video on Desolate December in the future, because the topic of boats in the cut Halo Reach mission could really be talked about there. I have a script written for it, but the video itself would be very long, and it's a large task that I don't have the time to work on right now. Anyways, thanks for watching everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to share more updates on the projects I'm working on, and make more videos like this. Goodbye.